Hello and welcome everyone to the comic Multiverse, where the worlds of nerd meet. Matt, we're back again after 2 weeks away. The Madam Web curse has been broken. You know, Matt and I just saw it and we're like, what are we even doing with our lives? You know, is this what we want to do? You know, to put it in a very southern parlance, is this where you want to be, when Jesus comes back, Joe Dirt? And the answer is, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know.
No, I didn't fucking see the movie, did you?
No.
I went away for a much-needed vacation, which didn't feel like much of a vacation, because even though I had made enough videos to cover me when I was away, I kept thinking about needing to go home and start doing more videos.
I know what you mean.
And poor you got fucking COVID before we were supposed to go last week, which sucked. This is your first time getting it.
Yeah, my first time getting COVID. No idea where I got it from, but I got it, and it wasn't too bad. It just kind of, like, took a lot of energy out of me, and I just couldn't fucking do anything for, like, a week.
Yeah. Again, I didn't feel like that when I had it. I felt like it when I got that bivalent shot, where, like, every day I had a new symptom that I was going through. Like, oh, I have a terrible cough. Oh, God, my chest feels heavy. Oh, God, I'm weak.
Yeah, I got, like, one symptom after the other, and it wasn't very fun. It was more annoying than anything. It wasn't like I was, like, crippled with pain or anything, but it was just more annoying than anything.
At least you didn't lose your taste of sense and smell. That happened to me, and, like, literally after 2 weeks of that, I'm like, I think my quality of life has actually gone down. I didn't know how much joy I derived from taste. If I ever lost my taste in the future, that might be curtains on old me.
Yeah. No, I didn't get that. I did get, like, weird, like, smells, though. Like I started, like, smelling something really weird, and I'm like, what the fuck is this smell I'm smelling? Is this, like, something new? Is this the smell I'm not meant to smell?
Yeah, the forbidden smell.
That just exists in the world, and you can only smell it once you get COVID?
You have opened the 8th chamber, and now you can smell the old smell, the forgotten ones. Hey, can you tell I finished watching that last season of True Detective?
Yes.
That was good. We're going to get a season 5 action. The same lady's coming back to show run it.
I'm happy because the original creator is, like, losing his mind over it because he's a big fucking baby man.
Yeah, like, I had heard he was hard to work with and that there was a whole character in season 2 which was just him ripping on another director he didn't like. But wow, what a massive piss baby he is.
Yeah, he's a fucking dick.
I can see why it's only produced by and why they didn't ask him to come back and actually work on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been trying to keep busy. I've been reading books and everything. I got away for like a minute, though I swear I didn't actually enjoy my time off because it's like, oh, here's a schedule I'm not used to keeping. I'm up early in the morning, go out and do stuff, and by 8 o'clock I'm ready to go to sleep. Unlike my regular hours where I'm up to like 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, working, trying to get a little game time in, and then I get up and do it all over again.
Yep.
I have tried to get a little bit more into my health. As you can see, I'm wearing one of these vital bracelets now. Nice. It keeps your steps and everything. This one is Digimon themed. It has a little Digimon guy on it who tells me to exercise. And the more I move, the bigger he gets. Here's the problem with it. There's 2 problems that I figured out. I just got this today. One, it doesn't really count your steps. It counts your arm movements.
Yeah.
So really, I could just sit here and vogue, and that's not really exercising. Yeah. And 2, I think there was a bigger app that was connected to this when it first came out, where you could, like, check your stats and you could, like, battle other people online and everything. I'm pretty sure that's gone now, which is why I got this at such a cheap price. I'm pretty sure, like, half of what they planned for it, in North America at least, I think it might still exist in Japan, they've gotten rid of. So that's the kind of week I've been having.
Oh.
But yeah, glad to have you back, Matt. Glad you're feeling better. I missed you. I missed shooting the shit with you and all of our fans in the chat.
Yeah.
I will say, though, something that brought me a massive amount of joy this week. It's not connected to comic books at all, but I figure we had to talk about it. Have you seen the Glasgow Willy Wonka experience?
I have. Of course I have.
Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful. Everything about it from start to finish. It's just Schadenfreude made manifest. For those who don't know, some I was going to be nice, but let's just call them what they are. Some con man had a great idea to fleece people out of like 35 euros, which I think is like close to $100 in our money, by making the Willy Wonka experience, which I guess was them trying to cash in on Wonka, which is a beautiful candy world on the poster, and to write a script, which seems fucking stupid. Why would you need a...
Well, the reason they did that is because then you get like amazing characters like the Unknown.
Oh, we'll get to the Unknown. But yeah, so basically they made this scam attraction to try and get families in there, made it entirely off AI, and it was the worst, nonsensical, most horrifying thing. I guess they were trying to recreate Willy Wonka, but for some reason, out of the blue, they introduced a new character, never seen before, called the Unknown, who is just death, who is just the Grim Reaper who comes out from the wall.
That screams of like, yeah, well, like they did an AI script, and that screams of like AI like filling in gaps with just something completely random.
Yep. So let this be a perfect example of the horrors of AI. There was the original book, but instead they decided to be lazy and try and maximize profit by handing it off to a soulless machine who, unironically, had no imagination. Not pure imagination, no imagination at all. And all the children were sad and they cried, and there's an amazing image of one poor, overworked Scottish woman who showed up that morning, got painted orange, and had to hand out little Dixie cups of lemonade and one jelly bean because they didn't have enough candy at the Willy Wonka experience.
My favorite is like the people behind it like came out and they were like, we're absolutely shocked about this. And it's like really you're shocked your scam AI thing wasn't what it was cracked up to be? What? How are you shocked at this? You set this up.
Amazing. Everything about this is amazing, and it's also a horrible look forward to what our world will probably become if more companies try and embrace AI. This should be a cautionary tale, but I know it won't be.
Yeah. I want to know why people bought tickets to this, because like we saw like some of the AI art and everything, and like they had like AI posters that had like words and letters and stuff on it, and it was all like complete mumbo jumbo. I'm like, how do you read that and think, okay, yeah, I'm gonna spend money on this?
The answer is they probably didn't read it all, and that's the problem. True. I think this is another thing because they were targeting parents, they were targeting older people who probably aren't as online as us and who haven't grown to be very much aware of the AI threat and be like, that's an AI image, that was clearly written with AI. It's like, you know, our parents with like pop-ups and how they can't tell the difference between real news and what's ads anymore.
That's true, yeah.
And it's only going to get worse. So, I mean, yeah, that's really the takeaway from anything you read in the news these days. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
But I hope it remains this hilarious. I hope it's hilarious. And I mean, I really think the big question is, you know, and I wanted to run it past you live, and I wanted to run it past our chat. What's our AI experience going to be, Matt? How are we going to try and cash in on this, you and I? Should we do, you know, Australia's Batman experience? You know, we'll get a bunch of people to come to a cave, and then, you know, all dressed up with cornflakes boxes and duct tape, and, you know, we'll maybe try and find a homeless man who we can dress up as our Batman. You know, we'll give him some booze.
No, you're thinking about it wrong. A cave is too much, like, production value. What we do is we create, like, our own cave made of like garbage bags, like black garbage bags and like tarps, painted tarps, and just like, you know, do it under like an overpass or something.
Yeah, you know, I like the way you're thinking, Matt. Maybe if we can rent one of those white panelless vans, and we'll do it up with the garbage bags, and we'll drive around. You can be Batman, I'll dress up in a tuxedo as Alfred, and then we'll just try and beckon people in to our Batcave van for the Australian Batman experience. And then, you know, we got to really work with the community too, so maybe we'll go down to like the nice and early in the morning when they've already had their little drink there and they're feeling good and amenable, and we'll pay them like, I don't know, $5 to come dress them up as Batman villains, and then you and I can take turns with baseball bats because, you know, Batman, and we'll, you know, beat up all of these villains while people watch from, you know, the comfort of our white panelless van.
And that's like on brand with Batman as well, because Batman does beat up the mentally ill.
Yeah, exactly. The mentally ill, the lower class, people suffering, people who have probably been forced to do some crime because of their addictions and because they've fallen through the cracks of society. So yeah, it's basically perfect, and I think we're going to make a lot of money, and it's going to be a huge hit. Everyone's gonna love it, is what they're gonna do. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I see no problems with it. No police will be called. There will be no crying children. And Batman doesn't give candy; he gives batarangs. So at the end, you and me will just get like a bunch of tinfoil. We'll get tinfoil ninja stars, and we'll just throw them at the children. Is what we'll do, so they can take part in the experience, and then we'll really be earning our 35 quid.
Yeah. Sounds like a solid plan.
There you go.
We'll make tens of dollars.
Yes, that's going to be our summer plan, everyone. In case you're wondering, why the show goes silent for a bit, we're just working on the Australian Batman van experience. So good. And hey, anyone out there in the art community, be sure to put that together for us. We're not going to use AI. We're just going to outsource it to our fans and pay them in experience and, exposure. The good, honest way of fucking people over.
Yeah,
we're going to look you in the eyes when we fuck you, not like AI would. And we'll call you later after we do what we promise. So now that we've gotten the stupid news out of the way, should we catch up on the real news that we missed from 2 weeks, Matt? Because Jesus Christ, the second Hollywood heard we were on break, it feels like the floodgates just opened, right?
It did, yeah.
Again, I don't think conspiratorially, but I think this was all, a personal attack on us. They knew we would ask the hard questions on this show, so they waited. They waited till we were at our weakest. They
gave me COVID.
Yeah, I mean, look, I legally cannot say that, but yes. But yes, they did. They waited for me to take one vacation for the first time in 3 years for, to keep my mental state together, and they made you sick so we couldn't ask the hard questions. I guess the biggest piece of news, and still the biggest piece of news 2 weeks later, is they finally officially cast the Fantastic Four for the MCU, and the actors they got were all people who were already previously rumored, and there was no surprises.
Yeah, it was all pretty obvious.
Yeah, which is fine, but I feel like, we kind of the magic of the original MCU is that they were really good at keeping their secrets, and they would cast a lot of, from left field choices. These are all good choices, but they're all people we basically knew were going to be cast one way or the other. Pedro Pascal will, of course, be Reed. Vanessa Kirby will be Sue, which, hey, it's kind of fun that a woman named Kirby is a Fantastic Four property. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Joseph Quinn will be Johnny, and Ebon Moss will be the Thing, which I think is probably the most interesting one because that guy's been having a great couple years.
He has.
And, just to hear him play the Thing, I wonder if he'll motion capture the Thing or if this will just be Bradley Cooper and he'll be doing the voice.
I have to assume he'll be motion capturing because he does have a specific way of, handling himself. If you've seen The Bear, he his specific, walk and, how he holds himself. So I would imagine they'd want that in his version of the Thing.
He's also mastered surly, so he's surly as all hell.
Yeah.
Pascal is also older, too, which I guess Reed, even when he was young, was always cast as older, because he always had, the gray hair, the gray temples anyway.
Yes, yeah, he was always just a little bit older.
He was always just a little bit older. Of course, hey, you got your friggin' what is it, everyone? You got your Stranger Things casting that you wanted. Again, I haven't watched Stranger Things, so I don't really know Quinn's work that much. But before we started, one of the big D&D channels retweeted a thing. It was him and I guess a bunch of the other Stranger Things kids playing in a celebrity game, and he got super excited and actually jumped out of his chair when he rolled a natural 20. So I'm like, all right, I think I like this guy.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I know in the show he is a D&D guy in the show.
So I'm down for that. And again, he's young too, and he's up and coming, so I imagine, this will probably be his big Hollywood breakthrough role should everything go well. And I don't see why it wouldn't, because again, that's a good cast. I'm sure, they've got almost 80 goddamn years worth of Fantastic Four stories to call upon to make this.
Absolutely.
And it's also just kind of interesting, too, from a fan perspective, because it's oh, well, they were the first family in the books. They were, the thing from which everything else sprung. Now they're actually joining a pre-established Marvel universe. How are they going to fit that in? And are they going to be as important out of the gate? Will they be new? Will this be a period piece? There's just a lot of good questions.
The art begs that question as well, because like it does look like it's going to be a period piece just from the art and like the style and everything it was going for.
Because how could it not be?
I know, right?
Because, like, yeah, again, there's just something about the Fantastic Four that is timeless, but also retro.
Mm-hmm.
And you figure, too, by making it a period piece, that's how you kind of walk around the problem of being like, well, if they existed, you know, how did no one know about them until right now? And plus, obviously, when you introduce them, you'll inevitably have to introduce Doctor Doom, who could obviously be, you know, an entire, you know, chapter saga-level threat if they want it, and I don't see why they wouldn't want that.
I'm pretty sure that's what they're hoping for, especially after all this, like, Jonathan Majors stuff and, like, what's going on with him. I'm sure they're probably speed running towards Doctor Doom at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Doctor Doom will make them forget. Everyone will make them forget with Doctor Doom.
Mm-hmm.
The chat saying, too, making Fantastic Four a period piece would also be a good way to get in, you know, maybe the other Nick Fury in the flashbacks.
Yeah. Nick Fury Senior, quote unquote.
Senior, yeah. Yeah, maybe actually do the mustachioed Tom Selleck version if we're going back that far. And I'm like, oh, that would actually be pretty cool, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be good. Yeah, and obviously you got to wonder, too, with the Fantastic Four movie, who do you think's the villain is going to be? Because I doubt they would do Doctor Doom, Galactus, Annihilus, any of the big ones right out of the gate. So what minor Fantastic Four villain do you think they could build, you know, a debut movie around? One who's a threat, but not too much of a threat. Should they finally just do fucking Mole Man? Because we almost got Mole Man.
Yeah, I could see the Mole Man, yeah.
Just do Mole Man. Or maybe even Mad Thinker or something. That one might be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I could see them honestly doing something like Annihilus.
Right. Ooh, no, you know who they do? Puppet Master.
Ooh, yeah.
Because Puppet Master is weird and creepy and has a deep tie to, obviously, Ben and his daughter and everything there. So you bring all that together, and I think you could actually do some really interesting stuff with that.
That would be pretty cool, yeah.
Because again, you wouldn't break the bank in special effects either, because Puppet Master's just a guy.
A guy, yeah.
He's just a guy with a creepy-ass power. Someone said Danny DeVito for Puppet Master. I don't hate it. I really don't. Again, if he could play a creepy penguin back in the day, yeah, let him play creepy-ass Mole Man.
Yeah, yeah.
I am 100% not against that. But yeah, so there's your Fantastic Four news. Everyone was really excited about this, and I was really happy for a day there that people all came together and celebrated the Fantastic Four and how important they are to the Marvel Universe and Marvel Comics. And honestly, I think people are like, oh, cool, third time's the charm. Maybe we'll actually get a good one this time. Actually, I mean, not third time's the charm, fourth time's the charm, I guess, if we also count the Roger Corman one.
Yeah, I don't really count that one because that one was made just to keep rights.
True. But hey, you know, fourth time's the charm, fourth movie's gonna be good this time. Call the Four, Fantastic Four. How about it? Now, will Herbie the Robot also be in it? Can Herbie be in it? Just as like a fun reference. You know, they should be cleaning out their shit and they find the little robot and he's like, and then they just like throw him away. Nope, we're not doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Herbie was in the art.
This is true.
Yeah. I could see them wanting to do that. They'll want a Baby Yoda toy they can sell.
That's true. You spin Herbie the right way and maybe everyone's going to want a Herbie doll in the next couple years. You're not wrong.
They'll cast some comedian as the voice, you know.
John Mulaney is Herbie.
John Mulaney, someone like that. Some up-and-coming comedian, yeah.
Shane Gillis is Herbie the Robot.
I would actually love that. That would be great.
Yeah, just don't ask him about Asian people or his podcast. Wow, Herbie has some, you know, really unfortunate ideas that have also seemingly not stopped him at all, which is fucking weird. But yeah, so there you go, everyone. There's your Fantastic Four news. I'm super stoked about that, and I can't wait for a trailer.
I know, yeah, it's got to be a while though. I think it's got to be a while.
It is, and also, like, thank God that, like, it's finally out and we have it so we don't have to listen to fan casting anymore, because I was actually starting to get kind of pissed off about all the fan casting for Fantastic Four, because they've been doing it since the last one crashed and burned.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, moving on from there, we actually have some Superman Legacy news there. Wendell Pierce of many shows fame, he's been around, he's a very consummate actor. The Wire, I think people really remember him for, was officially cast just recently, it was either today or yesterday, as Perry White in Superman Legacy, so we have our Perry.
Great casting. Again.
Absolutely. Again, you know, James Gunn has many strengths as a creator, but casting, I think, is probably one of the best. Casting and music. Absolutely,
absolutely. Yeah, he joins a cast that I don't think every cast member so far has been just fantastic. Like, perfect choice.
And again, in many cases, people you wouldn't suspect to be in the role, but very well done. Especially the left field ones. Now, they've actually, either they're starting filming or they've just started filming this, if I believe. I know there was a lot of news about Superman Legacy, but also a lot of misinformation floating around, too.
Yeah, no, they've just started filming. We got, like, a teaser look at the Superman suit. We got, like, the look at the S, which is the Kingdom Come S.
Ooh, how about that? I mean, I guess it's something we haven't really seen on the big screen. We only saw it in, those CW Crisis crossovers.
Yes.
And it's a good, strong logo. It's evocative of Superman, but also it lets you know, hey, we're doing something different.
Yeah, well the running theory is that it's going to be a sort of reverse Kingdom Come, in that it's Superman inspiring some older, more jaded heroes, because Superman's going to be a lot younger than some of the other heroes in the movie.
Interesting. It's been a good time for young Superman between this, My Adventures of Superman. And I guess it's just smart, too, because, you know, you want this to be a series. You want this to be something that's going to stick around for a long time. Yeah. So having your hero start off young and have to figure it out makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The chat saying, did we see the selfie of the cast? Yes, we did. What is it? James Gunn has been doing a really good job keeping people up to date on basically every little thing from it, and also shooting down misinformation as well.
That's what I love about his social media presence, how he will just immediately like dunk on a scooper who's been trying to like sell some sort of Patreon subscription to listen to their bullshit about the movie.
Yeah, he's not afraid at all to come out and just tell people, no, you're wrong, stop spreading misinformation. And I love that, because I feel that was one of the biggest problems with the old DCU. They let scoopers run with anything and everything they wanted, which built up expectations, which meant a lot of people left really fucking disappointed in everything.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely, you know, nip that shit in the bud before it can really start to grow and infect the project.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great having someone who's actually active in the community as well, to like just talking with fans on he's on Threads. He's trying to make Threads a thing.
I've seen that. I got a brand new phone this week, and yeah, with my Instagram, it's finally starting to recommend me Threads. And I'm like, do I need another thing to have hot takes on? Do I need another thing to be social on? My social battery is so empty. I had to go kicking and screaming to accept TikTok, and even then, I don't really use it all that much. I can't be trending all the time, Matt. How do I be trending? This is a young person's game, and I hate that. I made a little video about Law & Order Toronto, which just started, last week, and it actually got some pretty good views from people. So I'm like, well, if the comic things ever falls through, this is going to be my brand new thing. I'm going to be a Law & Order TikToker. I finally found my niche. It took it took almost 15 years, but I found it.
Yeah, and you'll never run out of content.
No, exactly, because Dick Wolf will just keep making more Law & Order shows.
Yeah.
I was looking on Wikipedia there. There's Law & Order shows I didn't even know existed that I didn't even watch.
Oh yeah, there's like there's like heaps that just like either had like one season, didn't really do too well, or like ones that are like they're like region based.
Yes. Did you know Edie Falco from Sopranos and like Nurse Jackie was on a 1-season Law & Order show called Law & Order True Crime? And I'm like, fuck off, you can't call it Law & Order True Crime. All of the mysteries are taken from the headlines. They're all true crimes, kinda.
These ones are truer.
Truer than that. Also, I love the ones that they wanted to make but never did, like Law & Order Hate Crimes Division, which they were trying to make since 2016, and they're like, well, we might have to take this one straight to streaming, because obviously there'd be a lot of slurs on the show. But they, like, totally backdoored it as well, because they, like, had a hate crimes division show up in an episode of SVU, and I'm like, oh, were these the cops we were supposed to be following? Or, like, or did they change this around to match the show? I don't know. And then the one that I always wanted them to make, but they never would, because Dick Wolf enjoys much too close relationship with the real police, and that is Law & Order Internal Affairs.
Yeah, that'll never be one of the shows.
No, because every time an internal affairs cop shows up, even when they are 100% in the right, as they mostly are, they're always like, ugh, fucking rat squad, ugh, fucking, internal affairs, these fucking guys, how dare they do their job keeping us honest and cracking down on corruption? Where do they get off? Yes, I did watch, Jack McCoy's final episode there, Chemdog. Christ, he was on that show for like 100 years.
Yeah, ages.
Yeah, arguably maybe a little too long. I could tell in that last little bit there where they were only shooting him shot, reverse shot. I'm like, oh, he's not even on set with anyone anymore, is he? They wheel him in, they unfreeze him, he says his lines, and then, they just put him back
they put him back into
the
stasis.
Freezer until next time. Yeah, for real. But yeah, so after that we got some more news. Hey, did you see we got our first look at Bill Sarskard as the Crow? This is
I did see that, and it looks like shit.
Yeah, this is another chapter of news only Joel will care about, because I love the Crow, have been pulling for a remake, even though I knew when they did it was going to be terrible. And looking at this, I'm like, yeah, this is looking very Jared Leto Joker, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking.
The problem with The Crow is that there was only one good Crow movie, and then every sequel they made to The Crow was just a bad remake. So now that they're actually doing an official remake...
Yeah, I just don't get how they could have seen that original one and be like, okay, yeah, he needs like white trash tattoos, and it's like the original, Crow wasn't white trash or anything like that. And
no, he was a Seattle indie artist.
Yeah, the makeup had a story. He didn't have tattoos all over his nipples, and it's like we didn't learn anything from Jared Leto's Joker.
No, not at all. Yes, he paints his face in a very pivotal scene. And I know some people are quick to argue, like, oh, it's a little closer to the original comic one where he's got, long gloves and he's, shaved his chest hair to look like a crow and everything. And I'm like, well, even then he didn't do that. If we had chest hair Crow, I would almost say that was a better choice.
No, yeah, he didn't do that, yeah. Or like a tattoo of a crow across his chest or something.
Again, with all respect, I blame Jelly Roll for becoming really popular and really famous and bringing dirtbag face tattoos to the forefront again. To which, in fairness, when people ask him about it, he openly admits, bad tattoos are a white trash rite of passage where I'm from. Oh, as the chat's saying, the new Crow kind of looks like Darby Allin. They should have cast Darby Allin because Darby Allin's face paint is better. That's what they should have done. The real question, though, is will they get a worthwhile soundtrack? Because the Crow movie is only half a good movie, and the other half is covered by the fact that it has a fucking kick-ass soundtrack.
Yeah, oh, they're not going to do that at all.
No, because that would mean actually spending money, which they're not.
Yeah, it'll be covers of famous songs. Kind of like what that new season of True Detective did. How every other song other than that Beatles song was a cover, and it was a really shitty cover as well.
Or Billie Eilish.
Yeah, oh god.
Which honestly, shit, you know, if they wanted to do that, where it's like, yeah, we're doing a Crow remake, but it's just Billie Eilish, I'd be like, you know what, that's fine, because she's pretty fucking morose. I'd be all right with that. Yeah, it's all just bury a friend played over and over again. Yeah, I'm not excited for it, but at the same time, like, well, at least they're making it. At least they're moving along with it.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the problem.
Yeah. Now, how much longer do I have to wait for them to remake Highlander?
Well, apparently that's happening, but they've been saying it's been happening for, like, years now. Yeah.
Look, they should have just made my fan fiction idea that I wrote when I was 13, Highlander versus the Crow, is what they should have done. Because they're both kind of immortals, but different.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, maybe the Crow is also from Planet Geist. Thank you for laughing at that Geist reference. For those who don't know, in the second terrible Highlander movie that I think they eventually ended up editing out, we find out that the Highlanders are immortal because they're actually aliens from a planet called Geist.
Yeah, it depends which version you watch. Yeah, sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. And then Connor like makes a shield that like protects the world from like global climate change or something, and it's fucking weird.
Again, you know, Highlander 2, The Source, is actually probably like a really great instance, you know, if you want to track back historically the history of fan cuts, because I think it was one of the first movie that fans started cutting because they hated the alien stuff so much that they're like, how do I cut this out? How do I make this better?
Yes.
Is what it is, and that's kind of what it was. So, you know, even though Highlander 2 is a terrible movie, it's a very important movie in geek history. Now, you know what else is a big important moment in geek history, Matt? The original 90s X-Men cartoon.
Oh, it is, yes.
It is, and we finally got a trailer for X-Men 97. I know there was a minute there where it felt like a lot of Disney's new animated stuff they were promising, like that Spider-Man show, like a couple other things, they were kind of in limbo, and there had a moment there where it's like, oh god, is this ever going to happen? Is this finally going to be real? And we got the trailer, and it's real. It's really real.
It's real, and it looks really fucking cool.
It does look good, too. I like how they've updated the animation style to it, where it's like, look, it's reminiscent of the old stuff. We didn't do it exactly like they did back then, because, you know, we can't send away to the same Korean studio, because they don't exist anymore, probably. But again, it's reminiscent of it. Obviously, a lot of the voices are different, too, but not in a way that you would notice.
No.
Which I appreciate. They got all the stuff right that they need to do right. And weirder still, you know, when I knew it was going to be a sequel series because they were calling it 97 and everything, I'm like, well, surely they're not just going to pick up exactly where the last episode ended. No, they are, actually.
Yeah, they're going to pick up after Xavier's death.
Yeah, they are legit going. In fact, they are adapting the last Will of Xavier storyline, wherein Magneto, in probably one of the worst costumes he ever wore, is basically going to move in with the X-Men now and basically going to start being their mentor.
Yeah.
Which is fucking wild.
Yeah, that's great.
And yeah, you know, we still got them fighting anti-mutant racists. We get a lot of cool big group shots and everything. Cyclops and Wolverine are still busting each other's balls. Yeah.
Yeah, looks great.
Yeah, looking really solid. And I'm all about that. And I'm like, damn, I think this is going to be good.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it.
I think this is going to be really good. I think it's going to make a lot of people happy. And, of course, the regular internet grifters were upset because, like, can you believe Morph is non-binary now? That's the worst. It's like, dude, it's fucking Morph. It's fucking X-Men. What are you talking about? You fucking losers.
The character can change, like, shape into anything and anyone. Like, of course, they're non-binary, you fucking idiots.
Of course they're fluid. God damn it. You can tell those guys are really hard up on content now. They're like, oh, what can I make to be reactionary and angry now? Oh, yes, X-Men has gone too woke for my taste. Fucking X-Men.
Yeah.
X-Men.
They were never political, Joel. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. X-Men were never political. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and all those guys, like when they did the X-Men, they never made it political.
Yes. The fact that, you know, some of the X-Men's oldest enemies are like evil right-wing politicians and genocide robots and friggin' hateful members of the church and everything. Yeah, there was nothing political about, you know, God loves, man kills, you know, nothing at all. the fact that they, again, that should really, show everyone. I mean, I know it won't because people love, delusion, but like that should show you more than anything that the type of people freaking out about that online are full of shit and have always been full of shit.
Yeah.
Like, if you can look dead into a camera, record it, edit it, and then put it out there, the X-Men are woke now, that you're a fucking idiot. There's no two ways about it. Fucking idiot.
You're either a fucking idiot or like you just like have no like sense of like morals or anything, because that it's stupid, but you know that it's going to get clicks.
Exactly. That, I'm a grifter is what it is. I don't believe anything I say, but I know this will strike a chord with people who are dumb and angry, and then I can eat for the month. But yeah, so X-Men 97 looks great. Of course, the big final shot there is X-Men and Gambit hanging out together, and Gambit does what he does with the cars, but he does it with the claws, and shit.
Yeah, it looks so cool. So cool.
And again, really, like, we're easy lays for this. All you basically need to do is play the theme song, which is still one of the greatest theme songs of all time. Na 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 na.
It's so good.
Na, na. Yep. Like, I like sometimes on the internet you see like epic covers of cartoon theme songs, and then it's like epic cover of the X-Men theme. I'm like, nah, it's already epic.
Yeah. It's just the same. It's just the same as it was. Yeah.
It's super epic. Tevia helping us out on the chat. Any opinion on Mark Hamill being in Crisis Part 3? I know he was going to be in it. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, it's not even been made yet. So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's going to be the one with him and Conroy. That's like Conroy's official last performance.
Yeah, that's their official one. Yeah.
I may need to check it out just for that. Then
it's the first film was just it was a big nothing burger.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. But I'll check out their scene when someone inevitably uploads it online. Because that's gonna happen.
Yeah, of course.
But, hey, that's not the only piece of X-Men news we had this week. The Superbowl was a couple weeks ago when we decided to go off air for a bit. And one of the bigger trailers they had was, of course, the Deadpool Wolverine Superbowl trailer. And it was,
Yeah, it's Deadpool.
Wolverine, all right.
It's Deadpool and Wolverine, yeah.
It's about what I thought it was going to be, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. There's definitely some more interesting stuff under the surface, like Wolverine is in it, but they go to their way to not show you Wolverine in the trailer, in the costume. You see his back, you see him as Patch, which I thought was a nice touch and a nice callback to some classic covers. I knew the TVA was going to be in the movie because, obviously that had been spoiled across the board by leaks and everything. I was surprised to see that the TVA from Loki are actually kind of the inciting incident in this, and that they are punishing Deadpool for what he did in the credits for Deadpool 2 when he went back and saved his girlfriend's life and basically fixed everything and did a bunch of gags. I'm like, oh, that's funny. They're actually holding him accountable for the gags.
I'm just wondering how they're going to, square this with Loki season 2. Does it take place before Loki season 2? Because the TVA, technically, while it does exist, they don't exist in this form anymore.
Yes, they look to be a wildly different version of the TVA, led by Mr. Succession.
Yeah, John Succession, yeah.
John Succession, who gets to use his real British voice, and I'm like, hey, that's not what you sound like. Oh yeah, I guess that's what you sound like in real life because you're an actor.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure he must love, not having to put on an American accent and go to work. But the other big thing is that what I glean from the trailer, and clearly what I'm not alone in this, is that, the subtext narrative of the movie is that, the Marvel Universe is broken and only Deadpool can save it. And he basically says as much, I'm going to save this universe. I'm going to be the biggest, most important centerpiece of this. And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, Deadpool telling it like it is. Deadpool being super transgressive for all the problems at Marvel. I'm like, guys, have you never seen a movie before? Have you never heard a story? The whole point of that is at the end of it, Deadpool's going to be like, oh, the universe was fine, and I'm just a bigger part of a bigger thing. That's how a story like that ends, with an idiot like Deadpool being humbled.
Well, see, the thing is, like I would usually agree with you, but then I also remember, oh no, they'll want all these people to come back for these movies, so they'll do that. They'll make it seem like Deadpool is the the center of this universe, because it's exactly what I thought it was going to be, and what I was worried it was going to be. Like, yeah, it's just going to be a Deadpool film, and he's going to do all the member berries. That's why they hired Sean Levy, because he made that fucking GTA member berry film with Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, whatever the fuck it was called.
Which may or may not have even been that before it got edited near the end of Fox. It was kind of hinky what that movie was supposed to be.
Exactly, yeah. They'll make a member berry film, and like people who keep saying they hate that Marvel relies on member berries will suddenly love it because it's Deadpool.
Deadpool did it.
Yeah.
I definitely get the feeling that there will be a good chunk of trying to have their cake and eat it too. And this one where it's like, yeah, Deadpool is dangerous and R-rated and transgressive and everything, and he's going to save this universe. But also the universe is really good and didn't need him to save it in the first place. But, you know, hey, we're having fun. We're happy for him to be here and everything, right? And here's Wolverine.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is Ryan Reynolds doing this, and like he much like the Rock, he has to have like that thing where he appears to be like larger than life. And there's a great channel run by a guy called Patrick Willems, who did a video on Ryan Reynolds and the Rock and compared them about how they basically play the same, like they play themselves in all of their films from a certain point in their career, and it completely, like, it makes total sense. It's like, that's what this is going to be. It's just going to be right, like what The Rock thought he was doing with Black Adam, but with Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool.
Right, yeah, and I didn't even know he did that video, Willems. I've watched some of his stuff. I'll have to go check that out. That sounds like something I would enjoy. But yeah, and again, it's like, and when he's doing it, in the trailer, I'm like, okay, is he doing this seriously, or are they doing this wink and nudge funny, where it's like, look, obviously only a crazy person like Deadpool would think this and say this and do this, but are they being serious? I guess you'll have to see the movie and find out to see what they exactly mean. And also, there's a whole other thing, too, where it looks like they're in a desert, and there's like a bunch of letters in the sand, and I don't know if it was 100% confirmed, or if I'm just reading too much into this. Was that the old Fox logo?
Yeah,
Are they in Okay, so they're in a literal Fox desert.
They're in the Void from Loki.
Oh.
And it's just again, this is like my problem with it. It's just going to be filled with like member berry stuff, but not how it was in Loki, where it was like far off in the background. You had to pause to see. It's going to be all in frame, in picture. Remember this. Remember this. Remember this.
Which is funny, because I'm like, oh my god, they're making Deadpool insufferable, and I'm like, Joel, 90% of Deadpool comics are insufferable.
Yeah.
That's why you didn't read them forever, and why you weren't a fan until like Jerry Duggan came in.
Yep.
I was like, hey, what if we made him an actual sympathetic sad clown? Which was very much what the first movie was, and what the second movie tried to be at times, but you could tell Reynolds and the writer-director were fighting over that one, which is why the movie they put in theaters, the uncut movie, and then the weird,
Christmas
rated down... Yeah, Christmas movie are so schizophrenic, because it's like, oh yeah, the people behind the scenes were definitely fighting about what this should be.
Yeah. Again, that first one had the great thing is that like Reynolds didn't have enough pull at the time, because he had to leak the stuff to get it made and everything, and he didn't have. But then he got the pull because the first one did really well, and it shows in that second one where he's like, no, we're gonna make Deadpool more the random chimichanga guy.
Absolutely, and you can totally see the difference in the scene I always bring up in the theatrical release of Deadpool 2, in the scene where he's like, he's dying and he's in Ghost World and he's, reunited with his love interest who kicked all of this off and everything. The sad song they have in the background is a sad, toned down version of that Aha song.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, if you know anything about Aha, English was their second language, so the song itself is actually gibberish. I'm odds and ends, and that's okay. Again, it's written by people. English is a second language, but the song is great, so no one ever paid attention to the lyrics. And then in the director's cut version of it, it's the Celine Dion song again, which completely changes, what the scene is and what they're trying to say and what emotion they're trying to convey. And I'm like, oh yeah, there was some real arguments about tone and what any of this is supposed to be.
Yeah, isn't there also doesn't Reynolds also multiple times make references to Celine Dion or something? So I'm like, oh, is it because he just likes the artist or something?
Yeah, and Canadian.
I was going to assume that, yeah.
And also Canadian, so it's a little Canadian. It's just, both versions I think are actually pretty good. Or not pretty good, I mean, they're not as good as the first one. Both versions are very interesting when you put them back to back, where it's like, oh yeah, the intent was clearly different here. And I wonder going into the third one, what is the intent of Deadpool 3?
Member berries, that's the intent. Nostalgia.
I mean, I hope not. I hope you're wrong, but at the same time, everything I've heard them say about it has made me go,
100% is. That's why they have someone like Sean Levy as director, someone Reynolds can push around. Reynolds knows that nostalgia will sell. So, of course.
And also, too, it doesn't matter what I think, because obviously that one's going to be primed to make $1 billion.
Of course, yeah.
Putting Wolverine in there was how they knew that this is how we're going to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I will be excited to see Hugh Jackman in the costume finally.
Yeah, about fucking time.
I know, right? Feels like it's about goddamn time. It's good they finally did it, before we all died.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that died a death, Madam Web was also released in the 2 weeks we were gone, and it died a death. It died several deaths.
It did.
Who could have guessed, Matt, in this crazy Hollywood system, that a movie no one wanted to see from a studio that hasn't put out anything good that's not animated in years couldn't get butts and seats? I mean, who would have thought? Also, let's not forget a movie made by actors who may very well have been tricked and who had nothing nice to say about the movie while promoting it.
Again, like all the promotion for this movie just like confirmed to me that like Sony tricks these actors. Sony doesn't specifically like state that this is not an MCU film, because I guarantee you half of these people who joined this film thought they were joining an MCU film. And this isn't the first time, because it happened on Morbius as well. I think it happened with one of the Venoms as well. Some of the actors who joined thought they were like joining a Spider-Man film.
Maybe, because like when you see the women talking about this, when you see Sydney Sweeney and everyone else doing promotion for the movie, it feels like a fucking hostage video, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then eventually at a point when it was 2 weeks in and they knew the movie was going to be a punchline, they didn't even bother trying to hide their own disdain. We didn't like making the movie. We didn't like working with each other. They lied to us straight up. The movie they sold us on was completely different than what we had. And where I'm like, okay, I would love to know. I have to be a fly on the wall. How do they get these, actors and actresses and directors in? What do they tell them? What lies do they tell? And how fucking fucked up are their managers for not being able to catch this? Because it's one thing if you're an actor, you're working. I understand you can't be plugged into all this nerd shit all the time, but you would think this far in you would know Sony Marvel bad, Disney Marvel good.
Well, I know Dakota Johnson fired her rep team like not long after this movie was released, or like a couple of weeks before it was released. And it makes me think like, oh, they either lied to her just so they could just get their commission and just be done with it, or like, she found out that like, oh, this isn't a Marvel movie, this is a Sony Marvel movie.
Yeah, or more likely too, they were just old, out of touch, and didn't know the difference, which is why you have to hire a young rep team who knows the difference.
Yep.
They're like, well, but it's Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man's Marvel. It's all connected, right? It's all one thing, aren't they? All no, Grandpa, no, it's not. There is a big difference here, but yeah, it's a bomb. It's a hilarious bomb. We knew it was coming. The fallout is much better than the movie. Yeah,
I kept seeing like people were just like just wantingly posting like clips from like I think a cam version or something from it.
Yes, that's how I saw it.
It's some of it is just so fucking bad. I know all of the villain's dialogue was ADR'd, and they covered his mouth with like CGI shadows because
Jesus,
like in almost every scene he's in,
that's amazing.
Because of like the script changes, the time period that it's set in like the early 2000s, but like that was like
2003.
That was like a late change apparently, because they were trying to like work it. They were trying, okay, can we fit this as like an Andrew Garfield like era Spider-Man film, or then Tom Holland, but then they figured out too late like, oh, timelines don't really match up. Oh, just make it 2003. It's fine.
Yeah, just fuckery from top to bottom, right?
It's great.
That's the only way I can describe it, is fuckery. Sony comes in with their white suit and their deviltry, and they make promises, and they make you sign on the dotted line, and before you know it, it's Morbin time. My
favorite thing I saw was like the villain who's like knockoff. He's meant to be Ezekiel Sims, but he's like nothing like Clearly Ezekiel Sims, because he has like a Spider-Man costume for some reason.
Also, he's more Morlun than Ezekiel, but they probably couldn't have used Morlun because they already had a vampire.
But the thing is, like, I saw like a bunch of clips with him, and every time he goes to swing, they cut away. Like, they couldn't have like their villains swing on webs because because maybe that was like a contractually obligated thing, like only Spider-Man can do.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So they kept cutting away every time he like jumped out of frame, and it's so funny. It's so funny.
That's amazing. Evil mathematician they're saying, I loved Madam Web. It was so terrible. My theater just erupted in laughter every 5 minutes. Yeah, here's the thing. It might actually end up getting a second life as a great bad movie, because this is like some The Room Plan 9 from outer space. No one wanted to make it. Everyone who made it was incompetent. Everyone who made it was angry at it when it was done. I truly wish, that I could have had a theater experience like that, because that would have made it worthwhile. Maybe we all get some drinks in us, maybe some other substances, and then we go and watch Madam Web.
Well, hopefully we can, like, convince Sony to re-release the film like they did Morbius after they thought that, like, people on the internet want to see Morbius in the cinema.
Well, you see, we just try and get them to recut it as a comedy. Just do what Tommy Wiseau did with The Room and say, well, it's actually a dark comedy, you see. You see, all those times you thought we were being serious, we were actually being funny. Is what it is. That's what you got to do. Just be like, no, see, we're ironic now. We're ironic. Well, at least we don't have to worry about... in the MCU, because we now see every time Sony tries to make one on their own, they shit the fucking bed.
Yeah. What do you reckon Craven's going to be like? Craven's coming out in like, what, August or something?
I cannot believe Craven is coming out. I cannot believe that's a thing. I mean, I feel like Craven has to be a little bit better. Like, it'll still be bad, but it might be a little bit better.
I think it will, because I think they did get, like, at least a competent director, and Aaron Taylor-Johnson's in it. And Madam Web, they got, like, some fucking TV director. This is their first ever film, and it shows.
Yes, and before this, she did Defenders.
Yeah.
She did Defenders and did some CW stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I feel bad for her. That's gotta fucking suck to know that Madam Web is gonna be hanging around your neck.
Madam Web. No, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. Didn't happen. This is why they need to bring back like pen names and everything. Alan Smithy directed that. Man,
he directs a lot of like Sony Marvel films.
Yeah, what's up with that, man? Dude's a fucking machine. Forget James Gunn. Alan Smithy is out here pumping it out. He writes, he stars, he directs. The greatest talents of our time.
He's been working straight for like 80 years.
Yeah, right? He's not slowing down. He's like George Miller over here. But yeah, Madam Web, a hilarious punchline that will live forever. And I personally, I know we haven't done a commentary for a bit, but maybe when that comes out on.
Yeah.
I think people might enjoy that. Again, I'm trying to get content for the other backup channel, which I haven't uploaded in 2 weeks. But yeah, maybe that'll be the return of commentaries. If you're good, you get Madam Web commentary. Dude stops. There's too much goddamn work. Now what else do we got going on from there? Ooh, hey, did you see that Batman Beyond concept art? We were talking about Sony and Spider-Verse, so apparently after that, they almost made an ultra-stylized Batman Beyond movie, but Warner Brothers got cold feet.
Yeah, it was by the same people who would go on to make the Across the Spider-Verse films and everything. And yeah, of course, WB got cold feet because WB are now being run by fucking idiots.
Yep, that seems like a good idea. Geez, that seems, way too interesting a concept, and way too artistic. We don't make art here, in case you were wondering.
Yeah, we make tax write-offs.
Yeah, right. Isn't that the fucking truth? I cannot believe they deleted that Acme versus Coyote movie when it seemed like the entire internet and all of these different creators and creative spaces were getting behind it, and they still deleted it anyway.
Not only that, other studios wanted to buy it, but they actively didn't want to sell it just because they wanted that tax write-off.
Never forget what they took from you, and also how do you do that as a CEO, knowing that this is going to create nothing but bad will for you, that this is going to be a PR nightmare for you?
Oh, David Zaslav doesn't give a fuck. He very obviously doesn't care about films.
I mean, he's the guy who made his money making Honey Boo Boo, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. He's like, I love trash is the thing. I'm the literal trash man, David Zaslav. I'm pure lowest common denominator all the time. Nah, I didn't see the movie when I deleted it. Why should I?
Yeah. I didn't go to any of the screenings. Why? Why do I need to do that?
What, do I run a movie studio or something? Look, I just bought this so I could own CNN and stick it to my old bosses because I used to work there.
What's a script?
Nah. Also, I'm going to fucking cash out as soon as I can when Warner Brothers inevitably fuses with, Paramount they're talking about fusing with?
Comcast, yeah, something like that. I don't fucking know.
Because Warner Brothers needs another master. Time Warner, AOL, Discovery, Warner Brothers.
Yeah. Did you see recently, I think they interviewed the guys that did Game of Thrones, and when they were owned by AT&T wanted them to film the entire last season of Game of Thrones vertically for phones.
Makes sense. That sounds like...
I'm like, these out-of-touch fucking boomer execs still use vertical video on their phone. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, I know. That's total grandma shit.
Yeah. Don't they know phones can, be turned on their side and they're just like a normal screen?
I don't know about that, Matt. I don't know.
They all still probably have fucking flip phones and shit.
Yeah, right. This doesn't feel like how God intended it, Matt. I don't know. This is unnatural to hold my phone sideways. But yeah, I can't believe that we almost got a Batman Beyond movie and it was almost gonna fucking slap. But they're like, no.
Yeah.
Seriously, I brought this up on Twitter. Yes, I refuse to call it X. At what point do these directors, do these editors, when do they just start backing up their own movies? When is that going to be a thing now?
You gotta now, don't you? Surely now, there's the precedence where, whenever, one of these directors, gets a gig, they'll be like, okay, every time we, do cuts and stuff, I'm going to make a complete backup on this hard drive that, I'll take home every day or something.
Right, because, if it can happen to Batgirl, something Bat-related in the biggest genre, which is superhero movies right now. If it can happen to Coyote versus Acme, something that was seemingly getting huge buzz amongst, actual creative people, in the industry and everything, if they all wanted to see it and were denied it, it could happen to anyone for any moment on anything. So, yeah, at what point do they start backing it up and then leaking it later? Because, at a certain point, you figure... what's the worst they can do to them? Because they were already taking a tax write-off, so technically you don't own it anymore. No one owns it anymore.
Exactly.
So if I release it, you can't really say, oh, well, he was stealing company property or he was leaking secrets. And also, what's the worst they could do? They could blacklist you. Well, fuck it, I didn't get a movie released anyway, so I'm technically not really a director because I don't have anything to show for it. At least this way, I have something to show for the 3-4 years of your life it takes to make a movie.
Exactly.
I would do it. I would absolutely do it. And again, no one says you have to leak it yourself, like that Deadpool leak that led to the first movie getting made. Almost certainly Reynolds leaked that, and he was never punished.
Absolutely. He 100% leaked that.
And he was never punished. It got such big buzz, they made the movie anyway.
Yeah.
And again, if you end up leaking a good movie, I don't think it would hurt you at all, even if people have to end up, going to fucking Pirate Bay and shit. And yes, I know that's not where pirates actually go these days, but still.
Yeah, no, it's always morally right to pirate a film when an exec decides they want to take a tax write-off on it for no other reason besides a tax write-off.
when they are doing what is essentially book burning to save them a couple bucks, when they are doing the Hollywood cinematic equivalent of, torching an apartment building for the insurance money.
Yeah, it's just really funny. You'll get like a Batgirl film which costs like, what was the budget on it? It was really small a budget on that.
Sensible, like 30 million or something.
Yeah, 30 to 80 million. They'll take a tax write-off on that, but they'll fucking greenlight Joker 2 with a $200 million budget when the first one was like a $60 million budget. What the fuck?
That's fucking wild. All I can think is either they bought some really expensive songs for that, or Lady Gaga is actually worth more than I thought.
Yeah.
Where it's like, look, it's this much to have me act, but it's this much to have me sing.
Yeah, it's two separate contracts.
I mean, look, that movie better be just, wall-to-wall Led Zeppelin and shit, like the most expensive songs to license. That's all I'm saying. And don't get me wrong, I am very excited to see what the fuck Joker 2 knows. And to see the reaction of it, of like all the bros online be like, what's more important than Joker right now, culture? I want to see those people have to rush to defend a musical starring Lady Gaga. Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
You just don't get it. You just don't get musicals and theater. What's more important right now than musicals and theater? That's what I'm dying for. I can't wait for that. I'm super hyped for it. But yeah, hey, so some comic stuff, because we are still a comic book podcast. Did you see that there's going to be a brand new Robin book from Black Label? It's Juni by. It's going to be called Boy Wonder, and it's a very cool, almost expressionist art take on Batman and his sidekicks. And I'm like, cool, a Black Label book that's not about Batman. Right on.
It's not about Batman until it is about Batman.
Until it's about, I mean, he's gonna be in Boy Wonder, no doubt about it. But I'm like, good, yeah, give the Robin something to do, and give it to an artist who's gonna do something interesting about it.
Yeah, no, that's what Black Label should be. All about the artist, getting to do something like really expressive and different.
Mm-hmm. Big agree. I'm actually excited for this one. It might end up being the first Black Label book I pick up in a while. Because I've just been so uninterested in all their other friggin' offerings. Like, hey, Batman, did we mention Batman? So, Batman Black Label.
I'm still waiting for the next issue of the Last Days of Lex Luthor.
Oh, has that actually not come out yet?
No, there is a reason behind it. There was some delays on, like, art and writing style, because, like, Brian Hitch and everything had some, like, other stuff they had to get out of the way first. So there is like, a reason, but, like, yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since that last issue.
I hope you get a chance to read that. Another thing I hope I get the chance to read, friend of the channel, David Papose, announced a big new project he's going to be working on. He's actually helming the brand new Space Ghost comics. And again, there's a whole generation out there who, when they hear Space Ghost, they're like, oh, you mean the host from Space Ghost Coast to Coast? Yes, but he was also a Hanna-Barbera superhero character before that, and he actually used to be serious.
Yeah, he was serious. He wasn't, like, used in, like, out of context clips to make a comedy. But yeah, no, I'm really excited about this. It looks great.
It does. It looks really great. And I'm like, wow, I didn't think there were that many Space Ghost fans out there, but a lot of people seem generally stoked on it. And Papose just seems like a really nice guy, and I'm glad he's getting more work.
Yeah, he's great. His Punisher is fantastic. The stuff he wrote for Hulk was great. Yeah,
I can't wait to check this out. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Also, too, hey, I don't watch that show Jellystone, but I do see the clips, and apparently in this newest season, they got the funny Space Ghost Coast to Coast guy in that.
Oh, nice.
And they got the original voice actor, too, from the old Cartoon Network bits, and I'm like, that's smart, that's really good.
That's cool.
Also, great that they got a chance to do it, because I think, like, Space Ghost is one of those characters that has, like, weird, like, copyright laws, and, like, the copyright holders are the people you wouldn't expect, which is why we haven't seen him in forever.
Yeah, we haven't seen him since DC did all their Hanna-Barbera stuff.
That's right, they did. It was Space Ghost Green Lantern, wasn't it?
Think so, yeah. And they did they had like the Flintstones comic and Snagglepuss and like all these
which ran for a while
and was really fucking good because it was Mark Russell writing it.
Yeah, Mark Russell just Mark Russelling the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christ, there was a bit there where there was quite like a Hanna-Barbera imprint. There was like a whole little cottage industry there of doing like serious adult deconstruction takes on Hanna-Barbera characters.
Yeah, they were all great.
Yeah, by all accounts. And then they just kind of stopped.
Yep.
The chat saying, "Where's my Herculoids comic?" Yeah, where is my Herculoids comic? I agree. Get on that shit. Give me the damn Herculoids. Now our last piece of news here as we catch up on everything is also a pretty goddamn big piece of news. The very famous DC Marvel crossovers are finally after all these years getting reprinted, and they actually seem to be giving them a lot of pomp and circumstance. Frickin' Jim Lee drew a brand new cover.
He did, yes. About bloody time these came out, because they've been out of print for a long time, and trying to buy like copies of them is just insane prices.
Yep, out of print forever. People have wanted it, and honestly, by all accounts, the only thing that kept us from getting these stories reprinted was the stubbornness of both Marvel and DC, who didn't want to work together and didn't want to have to deal with what I'm sure would be the headache of like, okay, who gets paid what for this? Who actually publishes it?
Yeah, I'd love if this is like the beginning of like a new relationship between them, and maybe at some point we could get some sort of like crossover.
Right, a new modern one, and that seems to be what everyone is hoping, and that kind of seems to be the carrot at the end of the stick, where it's like, look, you're gonna reprint these, it's probably gonna get a lot of lapsed fans back, it's probably gonna make a lot of money, and when it does, if you're smart, put your goddamn egos aside and do more crossovers.
Yep, let Donny Cates like continue the story he did at the start of his Thor run, which hinted at a crossover between the characters.
Make Secret Crisis a real thing.
Yeah.
Make Secret Crisis real. Get all your... You know what you do? Because so many writers go back and forth now. Get them to do the crossovers you always wanted but never had. Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil Batman.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, Jeff Lemire's Green Arrow Iron Fist. Make it happen.
Oh.
Yeah, there's just so many places you could go with that, and I think it would be great. Friggin' Teen Titans Champions, friggin' X-Men Doom Patrol, like just so many off the top of my head where it's like just make it happen. And like here's like the other dirty little secret of a lot of those, Marvel DC crossovers that they're reprinting. They weren't great. No. But the spectacle of seeing them all together kind of carried you through, and getting fun new amalgam characters later kind of made it worthwhile. So like, look, you can do it, and we're all going to be really nice to it just because we're super happy to see it come back.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, recently we also just had that DC recently did like a special Just Imagine Stan Lee DC Universe special. And that did apparently pretty well as well. I read it and it was pretty damn good. Like, just even if it's just a one-off special of like some new stories with these characters.
We're not expecting a lot, and it could only be good for the industry. It could only be a major boon for the industry, for comic book stores. Literally everybody wins. Yes. We're not asking you to make it a yearly thing. Just do it one more time. Think of
the variants you can sell.
Exactly. Think of all the variants. Think of the posters and the long box of everything. Promote the shit out of this, and people will be interested, and people will take notice. Yeah, Iron Man Steel, as the chat is saying. There's so many you could do. Yeah. And I think it would be great. Friggin' Miles Morales, Jaime Reyes.
Yeah. Oh.
Again, there's so many things that would be so obvious and so great, and I know we have a great crop of, comic book writers now at both companies who would probably go ham on this, and it would be great. I think the biggest problem you would have is people fighting over which ones they want to do.
I think we're at that point where like something like this could actually happen, because we're seeing like so many writers nowadays are like our age, whereas whereas before they weren't. They were always like, better lack of a term, they're all boomer writers.
Little bit, yeah. And like they remember the bad old days when the companies were at their throats and everything. Like, you're not allowed to talk to them, you're not allowed to converse with them. Now it's different. Now it's like, look, we're all young. We all remember these stories. We all remember growing up on them. Let us give the gift back to everyone else of how cool it would be.
And most of them have worked for both companies at some point or another. Some are working for both companies at the same time.
Right, like Tom Taylor could fucking knock out a great one.
Yeah. Again, Chip Zdarsky's writing both Batman and Daredevil.
Yep, Deadpool, Harley Quinn, Nightwing, Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
so many greats. Black Cat, Catwoman. That was a little obvious. There's just so many great things you could do with it, and we would love it. Yeah, Zatanna, Doctor Strange, Zatanna, Scarlet Witch. Would be a great time to do. We're not even asking for them to be in continuity. They can be in their own little side continuity.
Yep.
Again, there's just you don't lose anything by doing it, so you should just do it. It's only a gain. It's only a net gain.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one day. But yeah, so that's the news, everyone. That's 2 weeks worth of news we're catching up on. We'll quickly go through what we read this week. I read 4 books. Matt only read 1 because he was sick, so I think we'll be able to get through this, and then we'll talk about what's coming out this week because it's a weirdly interesting week.
It is, yes.
All right, so do you want to talk about the 1 book you read this week, Matt? Lightning around my...
I read World's Finest, issue 24, the ending of the Kingdom Come arc.
Looked pretty huge.
It's pretty big. It's pretty big. Darkseid turned up and just swept the floor with all the heroes of the Kingdom Come universe because he's trying to get the anti-life equation from Gog. David, who's turned into Magog, decides he's gonna end the threat before it begins and ends up killing Gog. So the anti-life equation just disappears back into the cosmos, and in doing so, Darkseid decides, well, nothing else here is of worth, so I'm just gonna leave back to Apocalypse. And he gets a great moment where David thinks he's defeated Darkseid. And Darkseid's like, you guys mean nothing to me. My machinations are galactic. You're terrestrial. But like the fact that you didn't beat me is going to keep you up at night because Darkseid's going to be your nightmares from now on.
Fun.
And the rest of the issue is the heroes confronting David about killing and taking the easy way out. And Superman's not very happy about that because he thought he taught David to do better, to be better. And he's really worried about that because he has seen the future of the Kingdom Come universe and what happens in Kingdom Come and how the world becomes basically a wasteland because of people like Magog. And he wants to try and stop David, but he doesn't know how he can, because how does he stop someone who's already killed, and like you can't just like throw them in jail because they'll just come out and do it again. And he's set a precedent now for this world. Spectre shows up in the nick of time because of course it's Spectre and he has to show up in certain stories like Kingdom Come because he's in Kingdom Come.
Naturally.
And he shows Batman and Superman like what will happen in this world now with like Gog, killing Joker, and Superman retiring because the world doesn't see his moral code as like a cool thing anymore. Everything we saw in Kingdom Come. And Superman comes to the conclusion that this Superman of Earth 22 didn't abandon his world. It's just that he thought he wasn't needed anymore. But the world always needs a Superman, so he steps into that role and goes into the future of the Kingdom Come universe to the older Magog, and just tells him like what he needs to hear, which is like he did kill someone, but that was the past, and he needs to make up for it with the future and forge a path forward on the back of his mistakes and remember them, and so he doesn't repeat the past in the future. And that gives David like the drive to want to do better and be better, and he ends up leading the next generation of Kingdom Come Earth's heroes into a brighter future.
So a happy ending.
Yeah, a happy ending for the Kingdom Come universe. We get to see like all the future heroes, the son of Superman and Wonder Woman, and like the new Robin and Flash, and all of these new heroes who all look really cool in Dan Mora's art as well.
Yeah. Damn it, Mark Waid, you done it again.
You done it again. And I think next issue is the final issue.
Right. Huh. I might need to actually catch up on this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm happy you're happy. I'm happy that I was able to bring you some joy while you were sick.
Yeah.
Speaking of joy, I had Green Arrow number 9 this week.
Ooh, okay. Amanda Waller is back, isn't she?
Oh, she's back. She's literally moving the brand new, her brand new organization there, the something of sovereignty. What the hell are they called?
The Bureau of Sovereignty.
Bureau of Sovereignty. Her and Steel and Peacemaker and Mr. Bones are moving into the Hall of Justice.
Bones! Yes.
Yeah. Waller has recruited Bones to join this organization because, like, I hear you're a massive superhero hater as much as I am. Would you like to join my brand new haters club? And he's like, fuck yeah, I would. Can I smoke? And he's like, yeah, smoking everywhere. We're throwing out all the superhero shits. We're taking upper deckers in their toilets.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
We're eating the yogurt Superman left in the fridge, and it's just the first couple pages is just them fucking up the Hall of Justice.
Oh no.
It's beautiful. Oh, there's a great scene where Peacemaker, he's in their garage and he stops and he takes a big long look at Blue Beetle's big flying bug.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And I'm like, ooh.
That's
and
nice.
I'm like, yeah, because you two are connected, actually, and that's not brought up as much.
Yeah, you two are Charlton heroes. You were technically on the same team.
Yeah, that you really were. That almost felt like Joshua Williamson, like he was pointing to the crowd, like, like he was going to hit a home run, like, hey, I'm going to tell the story at some point.
Hey,
people like that?
I mean, maybe. I mean, this is all building towards, because we also got, like, this is all building towards the new summer event that Mark Waid and Dan Morrow are doing.
Yes, absolute power. We get a lot of that, actually, in this. So their whole big deal is like, yes, now we have the superheroes' own security. We can use it against them to keep it out. No one would be dumb enough to try and break in. Smash cut to Green Arrow trying to break in.
Yeah, which makes sense, because he was funding the Hall of Justice, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. He was. And it gets even better, because it's like, well, how the hell is he going to get past cameras that can see the Flash and guns that can hurt Superman? The answer is he goes super low-tech with it. He has a hand glider that will keep him just under the sensors because he's going slow enough. He goes up to the roof and he's like, what people who aren't old members of the Justice League don't know is there's actually a secret trap door we put up here. So he's literally just sneaking in the back, and of course Waller and her goons grab him, and they take him to Batman's interrogation room, and Waller opens up about a lot of her plans, and actually this is where Joshua Williamson really thrives, because he brings together so much continuity that fell by the wayside, where she's like, yeah, I was trapped on Earth 3 when I tried to take over there, but I had an epiphany about what it takes to save the world. There's a war coming between people with powers and without powers, which seems to be the setup for absolute power.
Yeah, we've seen that that's what it is. It's going to be her, like, taking down, like, finally enacting her plan and trying to take down all of the heroes, because we've seen art where, like, she gives a criminal a gun that can kill Superman, and she ends up working with Zur-En-Arrh as well.
Yes, it's also revealed, how she even made it back. Basically, the light brought her back from Earth 3, which is why she's working for them.
I figured that would be something like that, yeah.
That they finally officially answered. Also, they dropped some interesting stuff, too. Waller's got a new robot villain who can create light, who's working for her, and Green Arrow's like, who the fuck are you? You're new. And the light robot's like, ow, that really hurts. We're friends on my Earth, asshole.
Ooh.
Which, again, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right, because Waller's still recruiting villains and people from other Earths. In fact, this issue implies that Peace Wrecker, that female Peacemaker we've seen running around, we all jumped to the conclusion, it's like, oh, it must be hardcore, right, because they're trying to connect to the TV show. Here, Green Arrow implies that Peace Wrecker might just be a female Christopher Smith from another Earth.
Ooh, interesting. She's still alive. I thought she died when they were trying to take the Helm of Hate from Lazarus Island at the end of it was before Night Terrors.
Lazarus Planet.
Yeah, because she and Gunsmith landed on the island, and Gunsmith got just, like, completely eviscerated, like, immediately.
Well, maybe she got better. Also, Peace Wrecker seems to have a problem with Wonder Woman, because she twice mentions it, and also when they're breaking all the heroes' costumes out of the cases, she grabs Wonder Woman specifically for herself. Okay,
I know Peacemaker was in, I don't think it was the Wonder Woman book. I think it was that Amazon's Attack
Attack.
Because I'm thinking him, much like Steel, is being sent after them because he's part of the Bureau of Sovereignty.
Right, that kind of seems to be the idea. But yeah, so Waller's big deal is like, yes, I have Roy. He broke into a government facility. I put a bomb in his head, said he can come work for me. To work off, his sentence. But here's the thing. I don't really want Roy. I want you, Ollie. I've always wanted you, Ollie, because this war between powered and non-powered people is coming, and you've basically always been one of the best non-powered heroes.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
It's like, I want you on my side, and if you work for me, not only will I let Roy go, but I'll also point you in the direction of Malcolm Merlin, who of course was the guy who was fucking up your family and keeping you all apart for so long. Oh, and Diggle comes back too. Fucking they dug John Diggle out of the trash.
Oh god.
Friggin' Connor goes all the way to Carto Maltese, the place from the movie, and so many other things. And apparently Diggle is in jail in Carto Maltese.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's grown a big beard and everything.
Nice. I wonder where because while she's doing all this, she's also setting up another Suicide Squad with Dreamer and Bizarro and all of that. Wonder where that fits in all of this.
Yeah, Suicide Squad Dream Team, which actually looks pretty interesting.
It does. It looks pretty cool.
But, Ollie begrudgingly agrees, and he's like, okay, what's my first mission then? And she's like, well, so I have the Hall of Justice, I have all this new political power, I basically have everything I need, I just need the deadliest weapon ever. And no, it's not kryptonite, it's not, antimatter or whatever. The deadliest weapon is secrets, and for you superheroes, you keep your deadliest, most embarrassing secrets at Sanctuary.
No.
I know, Tom King Sanctuary, and they show Psycho Pirate's mask, and I had the same thing. No.
How are they gonna square this? Because it was never Psycho Pirate; it was all Reverse Flash.
I know, right? Well, here's the thing: because Joshua Williamson was the one who explained the Reverse Flash thing, I bet that's why he's doing this.
That's true. Yeah.
This is basically him being like, hey, remember how I fixed Sanctuary? Well, I have further things I need to fix while I'm here. This is just me officially taking the reins of this story because, hey, never forget, the Flash family and the Green Arrow families got fucked over by Sanctuary harder than anyone else. They had just brought Roy back. He was just doing good. Then they killed him in that story, and he stayed dead for a very long time until Williamson brought him back and rehabbed him, and now he's doing good again.
Yep.
So yeah, I feel like Williamson is doing this to put one final nail in the coffin of Sanctuary and Heroes in Crisis once and for all. Like, look guys, I staked it, now I'm going to burn it to make sure it can never come back and haunt us ever again. Don't worry, I did that for you. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it. You're always looking out for us. But yeah, Green Arrow is dope and only getting doper because this looks to be how they're going to be setting up for Absolute Power and everything else.
Awesome.
This should be the book to read.
Awesome. I'm in my process of catching up on that. I think I'm like 3 issues behind at the moment.
I also totally see why this went from being like a 12-issue maxi to now just being an ongoing.
Yeah.
From the opposite end of that to something that absolutely sapped my fucking will to live this week, and I actually swore in the video, which surprised a lot of people because I don't swear in my video reviews, I just swear on the podcast. Amazing Spider-Man 44, the sad end of Gang War.
The end of Gang War and the setup to the next 20 issues.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So, right off the bat, they do the worst thing, and that is, up until this point, the entire story has really only been about Tombstone and his daughter Janice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they dealt with that last issue, so Tombstone leaves in the beginning of this issue. We never see Janice again. So it's just Spider-Man fighting a battle he didn't start against a villain who he's maybe talked to for like 15 minutes.
Oh, that's funny.
And the worst part is Spider-Man's like, yeah, I'm the hero. I'm going to fight you, Madam Mask. You're the worst. Yeah, I'm fighting you. I've learned such a lesson over, these last 10 issues. And they're like, no, you haven't. You haven't learned shit.
You haven't learned shit.
You had no dogs in this fight, Spider-Man. What the fuck are you talking about? I don't know what's worse. You hanging back in the background and doing nothing? Or you pretending like everything is about you when it's not? The only worthwhile thing is that they finally repeal Fisk's law, a law that never impacted Spider-Man at all, was incredibly arbitrary, but guess what? It's gone now, and it happened while everyone was fighting and while Randy was in his coma.
Oh my god.
They also really try and double down when Peter goes to the hospital. Like, you're my friend, Randy. I did this for you, Randy, because you're my friend, and you saved the day because Fisk's Law has gone away. Even though it was never Fisk's Law that you cared about, you only threw yourself into getting it repealed because you were upset that your marriage imploded. And now Janice is gone, and I, Spider-Man, am too stupid to see that this is truly the case, and that you're still going to be miserable. Oops, I guess if I don't get to be married, you don't get to be either.
Oh, God.
Like, the event was bad, but this final issue is just a big old fuck you.
That's crazy. That book is never beating the allegations that, like, they should do all this sort of, like, rage bait.
Absolutely.
They know it's terrible, but they know it also sells because it's terrible.
Yeah, and that's the wound, but then the salt they rub in it is Tombstone being like, well, I guess I was the last one standing, and even though I only got into the gang war to save my daughter, I guess I'll just be kingpin of the whole city now.
Oh, okay.
Even though I spent the whole arc saying that's not what I wanted, guess it's actually what I want now. Also, the Sinister Syndicate is coming to work for me, even though they never worked for my daughter, and even though they're like a girl gang company who never wanted to do regular hood shit, and were only doing it to help my daughter who's gone, but, well, they've decided to go against everything they stand for and come to work for me now.
Oh, that's funny.
I fucking hate it. And White Rabbit asks, like, a very good question. That is like, okay, but how do you expect to run the entire city as a kingpin when, like, everyone saw you working with Spider-Man and the heroes? And Tombstone's answer is like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to kill Spider-Man then they'll forget.
Oh, of course.
And I'm like, oh, so you learned nothing, and nothing changed in this story, and everyone is back to square one. And Janice, the only interesting character who went through any change at all, is literally not here in the final issue. Fuck you. This is just like, okay, I almost feel like you're writing it bad on purpose now. Like, you're not even trying to be artistic. You're not even trying to, like, work within parameters. It's just like, I'm going to actively try and write the most disappointing story I can. Setting up the next 20 issues.
The next 20 issues.
Also, Mary Jane as Jackpot showed up to help in the final fight, and her and Peter don't even talk.
Oh, that's great.
Which, again, that Jackpot series was supposed to have, like, a 5-issue mini, and they peeled it back to just 1 issue.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because, again, God forbid they ever actually do anything interesting, you know, with her being a superhero.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm. I know, it's just the worst.
It's even worse when you have something like Ultimate Spider-Man coming out and just being like, look at this, look how easy this is.
I know, right? But again, you know, it's like they probably don't have 100 people hanging over Hickman telling him how to do it.
Well, if they do, Hickman just tells him to fuck off because he's Jonathan Hickman.
Yeah, I will go to DC. Do you want me to go to DC? I have pitches for the New Gods. I'm Hickman. I do what I want. So yeah, that sucked. Though actually, again, the Miles book, which is making a habit of making lemonade out of lemons, actually builds off them repealing Fisk's Law in probably the only interesting way they can. The idea is that Agent Gao, the lady who's been after him, the lady who started the Cape Killers to try and hunt Miles down, Fisk Law is gone now, which means she doesn't have a job anymore, and she has to let her villains go for time served. And she's like, how dare you do this to me, Luke Cage, you fucking hypocrite, you're a hero, I hate you, I hate your guts, I'm gonna fucking kill this child. I'm fucking crazy now, you can't stop me. And that issue ends with her teaming up with the rabble and being like, you hate Miles, what is it, for no good reason to? So do I, let's hate him together.
Oh god, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's a really great idea for, like, a villainous team-up, because they're both, like, the two new villainous characters in this series, so to see them team up, like in classic Spider-Man fashion, is great.
Oh, man. Spider-Man is so much better when you're just reading Ultimate Spider-Man.
Right, I know, Ultimate and Miles, like, all these other books are great. In fact, we'll talk about another book that's coming out in the Spider-Verse, and I'll be interested to see what that becomes. But yeah, Miles continues to be great. Cody Ziegler, master of making lemonade out of lemons. Like, this book is 17 issues deep, and, like, half of that has been tying into tie-in events, so, like, it shouldn't be good at all.
Yeah.
But yet he manages to find the moments every single time to make it worthwhile.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. One of the best the books has ever been. The last one I read this week, and then we'll talk about what's coming out, and we'll do our regular wrap-up, is I Had Avengers Twilight #3.
Cool, I flicked through this. I haven't actually read it, but I flicked through it.
Continues to be dope. Old Man Cap heroically leading a one-man charge against the Raft to try and get Tony Stark's frozen head back.
Nice.
This issue actually offered a lot of really great insight into Jimmy Stark, actually. They've actually made him more of a three-dimensional character now and not just a crypto bro fuckboy.
Awesome.
Basically, his whole thing is like, he's mad at Cap and he's mad at his parents because he kind of felt left out in his childhood, where it's like, you guys were always running off to your next great adventure, always trying to save the world, but you never did because your way doesn't work. Me, though, I'm Jimmy Stark. I rule the world. I make people fed and entertained and happy. And, oh, sure, sometimes I kill people and sometimes they go to jail forever. Oftentimes both. But isn't it worth it for a perfect world? And Cap's like, oh, my God, it sucks that you think that. You didn't save the world. You just made a nicer cage for everyone, you little prick.
Oh.
And then he finally puts on an armor, which he swore he would never do because that was like his last ideal. And the second he puts it on, it's like, oh, this is awesome. This is better than drugs and sex. Oh, yeah, I guess addiction runs in my family, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, so he gets addicted to the armors.
Yes. He puts it on and he's instantly fucking in love with it. He's like, this is the best ever. So much power. I'm a goddamn god now. And then he gets one-shotted by Thor.
Oh, nice.
Because he's beating down Cap, and he's like, look at me, Uncle Steve, what are you doing? He's like, what I always do when I'm in trouble, I'm praying. And he's like, God isn't going to save you. It's like, I wasn't talking about that God I was praying to.
Oh, nice.
I was praying to the God of Thunder, and then we see Old Man Thor, who actually hasn't aged much because he's an Asgardian god, and it hasn't been that long to him. And he's like, so, Steve, is it time to assemble once again?
I wonder if they're going to now then explain the Thor that's on this, like, new Avengers team, because there's a new Thor, isn't there?
There's a new Hawkeye.
There's a new Hawkeye. I'm pretty sure there's a new Thor as well, like, on that Avengers team that's, like, running around, like, invading countries and shit.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because we've got a whole other evil team who they've yet to explain.
Yeah, we've barely ever seen them. They're just, like, in the background. Which is really quite an interesting thing, because that's how they're being used. They're being used as, like, a propaganda tool. And I like that. I like that we actually haven't seen them. They're not, like, they're inconsequential.
No, they're not the focus. Hey, with Ultron running around, maybe they're robots. Maybe they're life model decoys.
Yeah, or clones or something.
I imagine that's going to be the twist. Oh, Ms. Marvel's there too. It's funny. Ms. Marvel's on the cover for the book, but she's only in this for like 2 seconds.
Oh, really? Kamala decides to get involved?
She gets involved. The raft is sinking because Jimmy can't control his powers, and he's basically sinking the whole place. So kaiju-sized Kamala comes and picks up everyone and saves them from drowning.
That's cool.
Yeah, also, just kaiju-sized Ms. Marvel is pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
Love it. But yeah, so that was the books from this week. Again, Matt didn't get to read much because he's still recovering. That's a shame. With that, we can talk about what we read this week. And this is an interesting week because we had a leap year week this week, which means that, this is a lighter week, but we're also getting a lot of number ones and just some weirder books. So I'm going to have to decide what I'm going to read and what I'm not going to read.
Yep.
I guess the biggest one is we have Batman 145. We're done Joker year 1. We've gotten all the insight, and now we're ready to come back to the failsafe story.
Yeah, back to Mind Bomb, finally.
Yeah. We got X-Men 32, which again, I'm like, how does this book keep coming out when Rise and Powers of X are out there, and those are clearly the big main stories, and these all just feel so supplemental. Yeah,
nothing really much going on in them since I've flicked through a couple of them. I'm like, I don't care about any of this. I know it's coming to an end.
And it's the same creative teams. It's Ewing and it's Duggan who are writing these other X-Men books, but they're also writing the big finales, and I'm like, why should I?
Yeah.
But that's not the only X-Men this week, because we have Ultimate X-Men #1, and we loved Spider-Man, and we loved Black Panther, so hey, can they make it 3 for 3?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It looks weird as well, because it's Peach Momoko doing the art and writing.
Yeah, so this is going to be very art forward, which I'm excited for. It's an artist, or someone more particularly known for art doing the writing, which could go either way. But like you said, it looks weird and trippy because, like, how did Maker stop mutants from happening is the big question, and why is Armor the first? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
I'm interested in taking the ride. You got Star Wars 44.
Nice.
We got Birds of Prey 7. The Creeper is going to be in Shazam. I love the cover of this. The Creeper just hanging on Shazam's back. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Perhaps the biggest new number 1 is we have the Spectacular Spider-Men, the big Peter Miles team-up courtesy of Greg Weisman of Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon fame.
Yeah, maybe another good Spider-Man book.
Man, if that's going to be the thing where it's like, yeah, there is actually a great Peter book out there. It's just written by someone else. It's just not amazing. Because, hey, he comes from TV, so does he have more pull? Can he tell them to fuck off? I know what I'm doing. Also, as someone was quick to point out, too, hey, so Tombstone was Kingpin of Crime in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon because they couldn't use Fisk, yeah. And now Greg Weisman, the writer-creator of Spectacular Spider-Man, is writing a new Spider-Man book. Do you think he will use him again in the same way?
Maybe.
I'd like that.
Yeah.
We got Captain America number 7, kickoff of a brand new storyline for Straczynski. Really loved that first one. Let's see what he can bring to the next one.
Nice.
Daredevil Gang War 4. Fuck off. I'm not done that yet. Oh, I am so sorry your tie-in had to be the last across the finish line. We got Miss Marvel Mutant Menace number 1 again, so we're getting more Miss Marvel stories. I feel like if anything, this one would probably be worth it because it's still Inman Vellani writing it, and you know, Miss Marvel, she's involved in all the bigger stuff, but she can still have her own stories, unlike all the other X-Men books where they're all just tied up into one thing.
Yeah, she's a big part of those Rise and House of Fall of X books that are happening at the moment.
Sure is. Also, hey, Marvel, how long can you keep Vellani happy in writing this book? Because she actually seems to be a fan who cares and gives a shit, and that you clearly don't want to piss her off.
Yeah, well, she's got to do something until she shows up wherever next in the MCU.
I guess, and I mean, she's having fun by the looks of it. I mean, just please protect us, Ebon. Please protect us from whatever horrible choices Marvel might make with this character. Please just protect us. You're doing God's work, you know, is all I'm saying. We also have Weapon X-Men, number 1. This is the multiversal Wolverines all come together in a team. Normally, I'd be like, no, thank you, but this is Christos Gage, which means it might actually be pretty dope.
Might be dope, but I'm like, why? We're at the end of X-Men. We're going somewhere new. We don't need this.
It's like it's not connected to anything. It's like I've already sat down for a 3-course dinner and you keep giving me rolls. Like, yes, these are delicious rolls, thank you, but I would like to eat my steak, please.
Yeah, these are stories that should have come out this time last year.
They really should have. Giant size Spider-Gwen number 1. I think this is her big, I'm in the 616 universe now and I can't leave forever until they decide I can.
Until they decide, yeah.
Till I decide I can. You got Superman 78. I know you weren't really digging on that one, but hey, we got more.
Yeah, it'd be coming towards an end. Let's see how Robert Venditti ends it.
Sentry number 4, which I fell behind on, which is making me think maybe I should take a beat and catch up on some of these ones I fell behind on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of it. So kind of a weird week this week because, again, leap year, I think, affected their release. So we got a lot of number 1s, a lot of like, oh, really, that's coming out, and a lot of like, oh, shit, that probably should have come out way sooner, shouldn't it have?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you got options this week. You got lots of options.
Nice.
So yeah, thank you everyone for watching and hanging out with us. Glad Matt and I could come back after illness and vacation and everything. I think we're not going to do that again until maybe the end of the month. I'm actually going to the AEW show in Toronto on the 20th, so that might affect the show. I'm not sure yet. For everyone else, though, the best way to keep up with the show is, of course, to watch us live Saturday nights at 10 to whenever we start this. And if you can't, you can also become a patron for as little as $1 a month. I try and get the audio and video versions up there when I can. After that, it goes to all the podcast apps the next day. We're finally on Spotify and iTunes, like everyone wanted us to be. We are. So you can listen to us everywhere, which is great.
Yeah.
And also, hey, if you do want to see our beautiful faces, but you can't quite afford being a patron right now, I understand. I am trying to slowly but surely upload the backlog maybe every 2 weeks over on the Kate Joel Extra channel. Again, I haven't done that in a bit because I forget, and I forgot how hard and long it takes to upload the whole fucking podcast.
Yeah.
But hey, you get great audio in that too because the audio is better than it's ever been because now I record and Matt records his end and then we Frankenstein them together to make them really good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you, everyone, for coming out and watching and listening. As always, you can find us there. And, yeah, Matt, anything to say? Anything else to add before we end this one?
Not really, no. I'm going back to bed.
Yeah, please do. Get well soon, man. I could tell in your voice every couple seconds and in your eyes. I'm like, oh, he's not 100% yet. If only I could give him some soup and some tea, as I do when anyone around me is sick, because I'm a nurturer at heart. So thank you, everyone, for coming and watching. We'll let Matt get back to bed, and hopefully he'll be back up to 100% next week. So until then, bye-bye, everybody.
See ya.